What's going on, folks? Your boy again, Dr. Sean Thomas here, back in the building with the Be More Today show. We are back, and we are in the month of April, and we are celebrating Earth Day, Earth Week, Earth Month, Earth Year. It's a great time for us to appreciate the world that we live in, the greatness that we have to be able to be here and to experience life and breath and the blessing that we get just for being able to recognize and see the amazing world that we live in. We take this world for granted. My daughter tells me all the time, Daddy, why are people littering? Daddy, why are people still just throwing things here and there? And she's so adamant because she's been learning about Earth Day in her school now, but it's something that we've been looking at for eons, for years on end, how we can really make this world a better place, not just in terms of how we treat each other and how we interact with one another, but how we treat our environment. And the Be More Today show is about that and so many other things. As you already know, Be More Today show is everywhere. It is streaming everywhere and on YouTube everywhere. Now we're on Spotify for podcasters. Again, 73 countries, over 44,000 downloads. Thanks to your love and support, the Be More Today show has grown and continues to be that thing that pushes the limits of showing ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And as you already know, if you want to follow us, BeMoreToday.com for my book. Our More merch store is open with our latest More apparel. And if you're looking for a running coach, I am your guy. If you want to start to run and get back into running in the environment that we have with the nice weather that's coming out in April, please email me at info@BeMoreToday.com. Our quote for today is simple, as always. The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it, by Robert Swan. It's a real statement. I think a lot of us get lost in the concept that someone else is going to take care of this thing, that someone else is going to make sure that we have this thing going for years on end. But we're seeing there's so many things happening around us that it has to be us. There's no one else around us right now except for us. And if we don't make some changes now to make sure that our environment can get better, it starts with each and every last one of us individually going out there and making differences in our lives. Whether it's personal changes for your family, changes for your job, your environment, whatever it's going to be. We have a running club that I work with, and we're going to start doing some things in our running community, some of the parks that we actually run at, going there and just cleaning up before we actually start working out. These things can be done to make the world a better place, but it starts with you. And the more that each of us does our part, we can truly make this world a better place. Because again, the greatest threat to our planet is to believe that someone else is going to save it. It has to be us. It has to be us. And my guest for the show today is the embodiment of that. I mean, this guy I'm going to bring on the show right now has been doing amazing things for his community and for his environment and for our environment. And his name is Jimmy Gould. Now, I don't know if you guys know about this thing, but I learned about it a little bit while ago, and I got to share it with you. There's a device called the SoapStandle, and I'm super excited about it. And it's a small, simple device that, as I read, affixes to a bar of soap via small points that go into one side of the bar, creating a platform on which the soap is elevated. Since air can circulate 360 degrees around the soap when it's not being used, it dries, eliminating the goo before it starts. Now, listen, folks, if you're like me, and you're probably like me, you've changed your whole life now to start using bottled soaps. And I've been using bottled soaps for a long period of time until I heard about this man right here and this device called the SoapStandle. It was designed to accommodate popular curved bar soaps. SoapStandle is a soap innovation that allows the bar to dry, last 30% longer, and not slip from your hand. The simple soap accessory with over 3,000 five-star reviews is back with an additional product designed to fit perfectly on curved bars of soap. American-made soap innovation, SoapStandle was created to enhance the bar soap experience, a more affordable, environmentally friendly, and pure way to keep clean. It does so by eliminating the slippery goo that forms on bars, prolonging the bar life, and, again, giving you the grip on an otherwise slippery situation. My guest on the show today is the founder and entrepreneur, now located in Memphis, Tennessee, Jimmy Gould. Jimmy, what is going on?
Thanks, Sean. You nailed it. It's really simple, but it's the only device that attaches to a bar of soap and stays with it. And that's the unique thing, and that's what makes it so effective. All the water drains, it dries, and that's the game changer.
Jimmy, I have so many questions for you. And I asked a lot of innovators like yourself who do these things, what is your background? Because, I'm a physical therapist. I know what I know. I do what I do. But I'm curious what your background is and what inspired you, propelled you forward to have this idea and to create this device that's so useful for others.
Well, my background is not inventing or designing or manufacturing. I was in the investment business for 30 years. But so I didn't necessarily have an a design to go out and invent something. But I'm the son of an engineer, and my dad was always looking at things. How are they put together? How could they be improved? And I think I kind of developed a little bit of that mindset from him. But the genesis of the idea, it really goes back to, I had a bad hip. I got a great hip now because I got it replaced a couple of years ago. But literally, I think what happened is that I dropped the bar of soap in the shower one day, and it was literally a pain to lean over and pick it up. And so I thought there ought to be a way to not drop a bar of soap. So I got some modeling clay. I made a little oval. I made some points on it, stuck it in the oven, fired it, put that onto the bar of soap, and it worked. That was enough friction and contact point that the bar didn't slip out of my hand. So anyway, I did it. I felt like I, reached some kind of solution, set the bar down. And after a couple of days, I noticed that there wasn't all that goo that was forming that typically is there when the bar sits. So I thought, well, that's good. But then after another week or two, it seemed that the bar was lasting longer. And that was something I could measure. So I measured that and discovered that versus a bar that didn't have this little appliance on it, it lasted about 20 or 30% longer. So that seemed pretty significant. And that's when I thought, maybe I'll, try to get these in the hands of some friends and see what they think. So I 3D printed them, gave them to some friends. The feedback I got was, I hate gooey soap. Thanks. This is great. And so anyway, that led to just refining the design and making it smoother, and then looking around to see if it existed somewhere, and I couldn't find it. So then I started down the path to trying to get a patent, and that all happened. And now we're making them and sending them all over the place.
That's incredible. I mean, simply because you were, I guess, maybe in the household of people who were creative as engineers, that's something I would have never been able to do. I'm just letting you know right now, to say, oh, look, there's a problem, let me fix it with making something. No, I'm more, let me put my hands on someone and show you what to do. But to actually physically do that, especially with your background in finance and business, to do this now, that's incredible. And I'm really impressed with the functionality of it, because it is so simple. And yes, no one likes the goo that comes from soap. I mean, that's one of the things that we hate the most when it comes to not just using, but also cleaning, right? It's disgusting sometimes. So the fact that you found a way to mitigate that and to still make the bar last even longer, I mean, that's genius. That's genius.
Well, thanks. It is really those 1, 2, 3 things that there's no mess, the bar lasting longer, and that it doesn't slip out of your hand. So that, I think, for one small little device to accomplish those 3 things is pretty cool. But you mentioned, the aversion everyone has to that messy soap. The number one reason people give for using liquid soap in their home is to avoid the mess of bar soap. So now the SoapStandle solves. So it's a path back for a lot of people to use bar soap instead of liquid. And all the, liquid soap is, it's huge, and it's everywhere, and it's in a lot of people's homes. And it certainly makes sense, if you're in a public restroom, that there's liquid soap. But as far as homes are concerned, that's the biggest reason. So if we can solve that, we provide a path back to bar soap and away from all of those liquid soap containers, there are 1 billion liquid soap and body wash containers that are thrown away each year.
Yeah.
It's
astounding.
So, we've gotten emails, we see in reviews where people say, since I've discovered this, I've switched my entire household back to bar soap. Thank you. So that's pretty gratifying. And we think that it's pretty perfectly aligned with, I think it was 18 months ago that Europe enacted the single-use plastic ban. The UK has done that within the past few months. It's gaining traction in the United States. California is along that path, and there's just so much more awareness. So I think to date, we've played a small part in that, and I expect us to be playing a bigger and bigger part.
That's great, Jimmy. I look at all the statistics and look at all the commercials I see when I watch TV. I don't watch TV often, but commercials I do see, I see the Dove commercials and, the Old Spice commercials. There's always someone with, the liquid soap, right? It's always liquid soap this and liquid soap that and lathering around and all those kind of things. And it's so ingrained in our modern day culture that liquid soap is, I guess, the preferred thing over the bar soap. I mean, my daughter, I'm not even sure if she's actually ever used a bar soap, to be honest. Thinking about it now, I'm like, has she ever actually used a bar soap? And she's so funny because she's not one who likes things that are sticky. Like, she doesn't really play with Play-Doh, or even when it comes to like gooey things, slime. Like, she's kind of like averse to like, oh, doesn't like feel well in her hands. So I'm curious, if we were to give her our bar soap and take her little wash thing away and have her use that, what her response to that would be. Because, growing up for me as a 42-year-old guy, yeah, bar soap was all we used growing up. In my household, we had bar soap. And that was just the norm. Right. You go to hotels, you have bar soap. Anywhere you have bar soap. So, the modern day liquid soap thing now is definitely a thing. And I'm looking at TV and I'm seeing so many advertisements of people advertising liquid soaps. Liquid soaps are in everything. So, what are your thoughts on us going back to bar soaps and how that transition back for the environment, for all things you mentioned in terms of saving and helping? How is that going to be a cultural shift for us? And do you think we as a people are going to be open to doing that? Because I think we've become so ingrained in this new liquid soap mentality, it might be hard for some to change back over.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that's true, and I'm sure there are some people that would, that will never entertain that. But from 2015 through 2019, bar soap use declined in the United States. But in, I guess it was 18, maybe it was 18, that trend shifted and it started going back towards bar soap. I mean, even when it declined, still 64% of the households in the United States bought bar soap. So it's not like it went to 20%. I mean, it was still more than half of households bought it. But in the last few years, we've seen the use of bar soap increase. Some of that may have been with COVID, just that certainly there was a lot of focus on hand washing. And, you better get your reps in on, singing the birthday song while you wash your hands.
Right.
So there was that focus. Certainly just the environmental concerns surrounding plastic containers, shipping. I mean, liquid soap is 70% water. So just to transport it is a big carbon footprint when you're shipping that much weight. So anyway, I think there are a lot of compelling things that will continue the trend of people looking at bar soap. And, some people love the Dove and Camay and Caress and Irish Spring, all those really big commercially produced soaps. But then there are also the craft soaps that you see at the farmer's market, and things in between. So there's plenty of alternatives for people to kind of find the right one for them. And I won't be surprised if that trend continues. I just hope that we're part of it, and I think we're going to be, because when people use a little SoapStandle, most of them really, really like it. So it's a question of awareness now. And that's, we're just trying to build the awareness.
Yeah, I hear that. I have a lot of friends who, not a lot of friends, I have a few friends who make soap on their own, and they're very
Yeah.
much into it, right? They go home, they make their soaps, they make their other things, hair products, but the soaps are the main thing. And I brought a couple of soaps from a couple of friends, and my constant response is when I'm using it, it's the same thing you talked about, right? This is great, I love it. But I don't really use regular soaps often because I use the liquid soaps. But I do use my friend's soaps, it's the same thing. My hands are kind of crazy. Where am I going to put this thing when I'm done with it? I mean, most of my bathroom's not really situated or arranged that way for a bar soap to even be placed anywhere. We have hooks for our handles and, stations for our liquid soaps to go in. So it's going to be a game changer, I think, for many to revert back, especially in the moderns, the newbies who have never really grown up using bar soaps. But I do think, like you're saying, there should be a shift and getting the message out there for more and more people to know that this is an option. This is definitely an option that anyone can take use of, and to make not just the environment better, but to make your lives easier. And my question for you now is, we talked about the effectiveness of it, and we know it's effective. We know that it works. We know it's easy to use. So what are the advantages now? So we're talking about, product line and price and those things, because you're now saying, yes, we can go out there and revert back to our manual soaps, but are people going to go out there and spend the extra money to buy something to use soap with? And
Yeah.
have you
Well,
found any conflict with that or any challenges trying to get people to say, look, you can buy the bar soap, but you also have to buy this to make sure that the whole package deal is an enjoyable one for you?
well, and you're right. And those are some things that we encounter, and we have to do a good job of explaining that to people because, some people take a look at a SoapStandle that's, 2.5 inches long, and they say, that's so small.
Mm.
You know, and my bar of soap is bigger, so, and they're thinking, oh, it should just be a soap dish that's the same size as the bar. Well, the reason that the SoapStandle is that size is that when you use the bar and it wears down and it becomes a sliver, that's about the size that a sliver of soap becomes. So if it was bigger, it would get in the way of you using the entire bar. But as far as the value proposition of it, let's say I didn't know this before, but there are $40 and $50 and $60 bars of soap. I don't buy them, but if you did, you'd certainly love to have something that made your bar last 20 or 30% longer.
Absolutely.
Even if you buy a $5 bar of soap, the value of the SoapStandle is pretty good. Some places, at SoapStandles.com, we sell them a single one for $5.99. On Amazon, it's two for $11.99. So let's say let's just say $6. If you buy a SoapStandle for $6 and your bar of soap costs you $5, but you're saving, your bar is extended life by 20%. Well, that's $1 per bar that you go through. So you'll go through more than 6 bars in a year.
Yeah.
So before the year is out, the SoapStandle's paid for itself, and you're using it bar after bar after bar. So I can, from my investment background, I put together a chart on return on investment of a SoapStandle. I don't think anyone really wants to look at that, but but it's true. The numbers are true.
Yeah.
And you can make a case. You can make a case for that. So, value wise, I think it makes sense. There are plenty of people that won't care about that calculation because soap isn't that expensive. But the value to them is not having to clean up that mess. Mm-hmm. Or, I've gotten emails from women whose husbands they just talk about how great this is because now they're not having to complain to their husbands all the time about how they keep their shower. So, it operates on a lot of levels.
I see that you're changing the world and changing the household world as well. Marriages are being mended, extended.
Yeah, whatever we to make people's marital lives, more blissful. That's what we're all about.
I hear that. Listen, Jimmy, is it kid friendly? I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I told you about her a little bit earlier. Is it kid friendly? Can she use it?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten reviews from people that said, I mean, here's one that says, my kids love it. They get excited to wash their hands because of the cool grip. Another one said, I love it because it helps my kids hold the soap and it keeps the bar from leaving globs of soap on the edge of the sink. And another one was their kid would have to chase the bar around, and now they don't anymore. So, yeah, I mean, I think anything that helps a little bitty hand hold on to something that's bigger and really slippery is, they're going to like it.
That's awesome. So, in the spirit of Earth Day, I'm curious, is this a device or an apparatus that's changing the world, that's going to be saving us from using so many plastic bottles? And as we know, plastic in all forms has been one of the things that has plagued our environment for years. Right? We talk about wildlife, deer choking on the plastic container holders. We talk about the number of bottles that we waste as not just Americans, but as human beings in the world, every single year. So now that you have something that can reduce the number of plastic containers being used, is there any data or stats on how many containers you can be saving by using bar soap as opposed to using liquid soap?
Well, I mean, there are 1 billion liquid soap and body wash containers that are disposed of each year. So if we could get everyone to use a SoapStandle instead of using those, we could eliminate 1 billion.
You said
I'm not promising 1 billion. I'm not promising that we can do that.
Right.
I would love it, but I mean, just it's a one step at a time deal, one consumer at a time. But those people that have written emails to me and have expressed in reviews that they've switched over their household. I mean, let's say they've got 3 bathrooms, 3 liquid soap.
Yeah.
And, it might be 10 bottles a year. So that may be 30 or 40 bottles a year for a family.
Yeah.
We just got to, one at a time, and it's going to be significant.
Yeah. You got me thinking on Jimmy. I'm thinking about all the bottles that I have in my bathroom right now. I'm thinking about my hair products, my wife's hair products, our body wash products. There's so many bottles that are in my bathroom right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you've used shampoo bars or conditioner bars. And I've only recently started using shampoo bars. But all of those are subject to, being exposed to water and kind of sitting in a pool of water, or just not. It's not so much that it's sitting in a pool of water. It's that the bar becomes saturated and then it's placed on a flat surface. And there's no way for that portion of the bar that's saturated for water to escape. Right. That's what the SoapStandle allows. And so that's the game changer. And so, yeah, for all of those bottles that are in your shower, conditioner, shampoo, liquid soap, there's a SoapStandle for all of those.
Yeah. So you're saying the SoapStandle can be used also for the other soaps that are out there?
For the
and
yeah, because when you got the shampoo and the conditioner bars, they have even a higher moisture content, so they turn into goo that much more easily. A lot of the shampoo bars are smaller and round, and later this year we'll be out with a SoapStandle Mini that will fit perfectly on those. And we're just we're trying to come out with new things that address the different ways that we can enhance the experience.
Jim, this is great. This is you got me thinking now. I got to revamp our whole household. I got to make sure that we're doing things right. And I want to buy one for sure. Where can people purchase the SoapStandle?
Well, we're on Amazon. We're at soapstandle.com. We're in boutiques throughout the country. We're looking for bigger distribution avenues into bigger retail. There's one soap company that has really embraced it. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Squatch soap, but they are in Walmart. They have private labeled it as the Gripper. So you see a Squatch gripper. That's our SoapStandle in another name. So they're in some big spots. So it's available, and we're trying to make it more and more available.
That's great. I definitely want to go on Amazon myself and purchase one for our household. And who knows, maybe replacing all of our liquid soaps with soap standles and bar soaps very, very soon. And Jimmy, this is basically what Be More Today is about. We try to bring on people who are doing extraordinary things, and you're doing that. And I ask every guest on the show when they hear the phrase Be More Today, what it means to them. So in the spirit of Earth Day, Earth Week, Earth Month, and the spirit of the scandal, when you hear the phrase Be More Today, what does that phrase mean to you?
Well, the first thing that came to mind was one of my favorite phrases from Maya Angelou, where be more today kind of brings to mind be better today. And her quote is, do the best that you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. And I think that's a good dovetail with be more today. And it also kind of goes in line with the SoapStandle. I mean, if people use liquid soap, that's fine. And I mean, everyone needs to use soap. But once you learn about a better way to do something and a way to avoid the plastic containers, but still, use it in a fashion that appeals to you, that you like, and you can avoid that mess. So once you become aware that there's a way to do that, then do that. So once you learn about SoapStandle, go get one and use it on bar soap and do better.
That's it, folks. Do better. Jim, what's next for you and the SoapStandle? What's up on the horizon for the company, for the brand, or just for you in general?
Well, as far as the company is concerned, I mean, when we started this a couple of years ago, I don't know if I was naive in saying it or too optimistic, but I think it's going to come true. I said 5 years in the U.S. and 10 years the world. So I think we're on that timeline that we'll be in some major national distribution within maybe a year. Maybe it's a couple of years, but that'll be the U.S., Europe, Australia, Africa. Those are all poised to make great use of something that lessens plastic consumption, and everyone uses soap. So, I mean, there are literally billions of people around the world that are prospects. As far as what's on, line for me, we just had our first grandchild 5 months ago. We've got 5 kids. They're spread all over the place and all doing constructive things. So they are constant sources of inspiration for us and good places to visit.
Absolutely. That's exciting, Jimmy. I'm glad to hear that. And I thank you for sharing that. Where can people follow you on Instagram, social media, or otherwise?
We're on Instagram and Twitter at SoapStandle. We're in Facebook the same way. So, I mean, we're out there. I have to admit, I'm not very good at my whole social media presence, but I'm getting some people to help me. So hopefully it'll look better and there will be more to follow.
It takes a village sometimes. So yeah, I'm sure you'll figure it out. Jimmy, you're a great human being. There's a shirt that people wear that says "Be a good human." I see it all around. I don't know if you've ever seen the shirt, people walking around with it, but you're definitely doing that for humanity. And in the spirit of Earth Day, I gotta say thank you for being on the show. You have inspired millions to go out there and use this SoapStandle, and I'm gonna go out there and purchase my own. And I'm encourage everyone who's listening right now to also go out there and save the environment. This is something that can be a simple way for us to take one step towards being better for ourselves, for our community, for our environment. So, Jimmy, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you, Sean. It's been a pleasure, and just it's been great. It's nice talking to you.
No problem. And folks, listen, don't forget all the words he shared. He shares so many things. You can sense the passion in his voice about the product that he has out there. And two things I took from this. The quote we talked about earlier, clearly, the great greatest threat that we have to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. Jimmy said, I'm going to be that someone else. I'm going to take this into my own hands and make something that's going to make a difference, not just for the common issues that plague us, right? The superficial ones with the soap scum and whatever else, but also for the greater impact of the world. Saving, he said, 1 billion plastic bottles can be saved by just using this simple device. And we can do that. But I also took from that what he said is that he did something else for 30 years and said, you know what, let me change gears and do this other thing. And that other thing is also being and going to be so profitable in the next 5-10 years and into eternity. So if there's anything that you have out there that you're trying to say, oh, I don't know if I can do this, I'm not really sure what's going on, I don't know this, I don't know that, I don't have the right tools for this, listen, there is someone out there who can always help you to get to where you want to be. Like Jimmy's going to have someone help with social media platform and social media page. Whether you have an idea, something that you want to do, something you want to be more with, go out there and find the people that you can be surrounded by, who will surround you to take your idea to the next level. We all can do that. And who knows, maybe your idea will be the next one that can make this world a better place. Folks, thank you for joining us on today's show. For Be More Today, happy Earth Day to all of you. And remember, please go onto our sites, as always, BeMoreToday.com for my book, our swag store, and check out SoapStandle on Amazon and also SoapStandle.com. As I always say, have a good day, have a good night, have a great life, and continue to take your steps to greatness to be the best version of you. We'll see you next week. Peace.